For the past 7 years, I have been shopping dollar stores not just for deals, but specifically looking for items that survive supply chain chaos. And here's what I've learned. While everyone fights over the same viral TikTok finds and seasonal clearance junk, there are specific items sitting on dollar store shelves right now that are about to vanish permanently, not temporarily out of stock. Gone. I'm talking about suppliers discontinuing lines, manufacturers pivoting to higher margin products, and distributors quietly dropping SKUs that don't move fast enough in their system. Number 9 is sitting at your local Dollar Tree right now for exactly $1.25, but I'm watching it disappear from distribution lists in real time. The problem is this: when corporate decides a product doesn't justify the shelf space, they don't announce it. They just stop restocking. And by the time you notice it's gone everywhere. Back in late 2021, I watched Dollar Tree discontinue an entire line of canned goods that I'd been buying for years. No warning. One week they were there, next week empty pegs. And when I asked the manager, she told me they weren't even in the system anymore. But here's the thing. I'd already stocked 6 months' worth because I'd learned to recognize the warning signs. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe right now because I'm about to show you exactly what to grab before these items disappear completely, and you won't find this information anywhere else. Let's start with number 1. This one is going to sound almost too simple, but it's disappearing faster than anything else on this list. Aluminum foil. Heavy-duty aluminum foil specifically. Now, before you think I've lost my mind talking about foil, let me explain what's happening behind the scenes. I know a guy who has worked in procurement for a major discount retailer for over 15 years, and he told me something that should terrify you. Aluminum prices have tripled since 2020, and dollar stores are eating the cost to keep that $1.25 price point. They can't do it much longer. He said his company is already phasing out the heavy-duty rolls and replacing them with thinner product that uses less material. Most people won't even notice until they try to wrap a brisket, and the foil tears like tissue paper. Here's what I did last month. I went to 3 different Dollar Tree locations and bought every heavy-duty roll they had. 12 rolls total. I opened one last week that I bought 2 years ago during a similar run. Still perfect. Heavy-duty foil does not degrade, does not expire, and has about 600 uses beyond wrapping leftovers. During a power outage last winter, I used it to reflect heat from our fireplace back into the room. Worked better than the emergency blankets I'd spent $30 on. I've used it to sharpen scissors, clean rust-off tools, scrub stuck-on food off cast iron, and even as a makeshift funnel. A single roll at Dollar Tree costs $1.25. The exact same product at a grocery store is $4 to $6. And here's the key. When supply chains tighten, dollar stores are first to lose access to quality aluminum products because they can't compete with higher-margin retailers. Most preppers are stocking freeze-dried meals and completely ignoring the basics that actually disappear first. Stock at least 10 rolls per person in your household. You will never regret it. Look, I get it. Dollar stores are overwhelming, and it's hard to know what's actually worth stocking versus what's just cheap junk that'll break in a week. I've done the research for you and put together a free stockpile checklist that lists the exact 23 dollar store items you need to grab now, organized by category, so you're not wandering aisles guessing. It'll cost you less than 2 trips to a coffee shop and could feed and supply your household for weeks. You can grab it for free at the link in the description, so you can stop second-guessing every purchase and start building a real stockpile that doesn't drain your bank account. Number 2, oven bags. Yeah, the ones your grandmother used to cook turkeys. These are vanishing so quietly that nobody's even talking about it. Here's what you need to know. Oven bags are made from food-grade nylon that can handle high heat, and they're one of the most versatile cooking tools you can stockpile. But more importantly, they're being discontinued by dollar stores because they're seasonal items that don't move fast enough outside in November and December. I talked to a Dollar Tree store manager 3 weeks ago, and she told me they're only getting 1 shipment per year now instead of quarterly restocks. That means if you miss the holiday season, you're out of luck until next year, and eventually they'll stop carrying them altogether. Last winter, during a week-long power outage in my area, I used oven bags to cook entire meals over a campfire without needing pots or pans. You put chicken, potatoes, carrots, and seasoning in the bag, tie it off, and hang it over indirect heat. 30 minutes later, you've got a full meal and 0 dishes to wash. I know it sounds weird, but it works. Beyond cooking, oven bags are waterproof storage. I've used them to protect documents, store bulk rice in smaller portions, and even as makeshift gloves when I needed to handle something nasty and didn't want to waste real gloves. A box of 5 costs $1.25 at Dollar Tree. The same brand at Walmart is $3.50. And here's the advantage nobody talks about. When panic buyers are clearing out propane and freeze-dried food, oven bags are still sitting on the shelf because 99% of people have no idea how useful they are. Grab at least 10 boxes. They take up almost no space, they never expire, and you'll use them way more than you think. Number 3, bar soap, not the fancy artisan stuff. I'm talking about basic unscented utilitarian bar soap like Ivory or the Dollar Tree house brand. Here's the reality. Liquid soap is a luxury product that only exists because companies figured out how to charge you for water. Bar soap is concentrated, lasts 3 times longer, requires no plastic packaging, and has a shelf life that outlasts both of us. But dollar stores are slowly phasing it out because the profit margin is terrible compared to body wash and hand soap pumps. I watched this happen at my local Family Dollar over the past 2 years. They used to have an entire end cap of bar soap. Now it's down to 1 peg, and half the time it's empty. A 3-pack of bar soap at Dollar Tree is $1.25. That same amount of liquid soap, even at a dollar store, gives you maybe a third of the cleaning power and runs out in 2 weeks. I've got bars in my bathroom that are over a year old and still going strong. And here's what most people miss. Bar soap is not just for washing your hands. It's a stain remover, a lubricant for stuck zippers and drawers, an insect repellent when you rub it on your skin, and even an emergency fire starter because the oils and soap are flammable. During a camping trip last year, I used a bar of Ivory to clean dishes, wash clothes in a bucket, and scrub mud off my boots. 1 bar, 3 days, still had half of it left. The reason it survives shortages is simple. It's boring. Nobody's panic buying bar soap. But when you can't get liquid soap because supply chains are broken or prices have doubled, you're going to wish you grabbed 20 bars when they were $1.25. Number 3, bar soap, not the fancy artisan stuff. I'm talking about basic unscented utilitarian bar soap like Ivory or the Dollar Tree house brand. Here's the reality. Liquid soap is a luxury product that only exists because companies figured out how to charge you for water. Bar soap is concentrated, lasts 3 times longer, requires no plastic packaging, and has a shelf life that outlasts both of us. But dollar stores are slowly phasing it out because the profit margin is terrible compared to body wash and hand soap pumps. I watched this happen at my local Family Dollar over the past 2 years. They used to have an entire end cap of bar soap. Now it's down to 1 peg, and half the time it's empty. A 3-pack of bar soap at Dollar Tree is $1.25. That same amount of liquid soap, even at a dollar store, gives you maybe a third of the cleaning power and runs out in 2 weeks. I've got bars in my bathroom that are over a year old and still going strong. And here's what most people miss. Bar soap is not just for washing your hands. It's a stain remover, a lubricant for stuck zippers and drawers, an insect repellent when you rub it on your skin, and even an emergency fire starter because the oils and soap are flammable. During a camping trip last year, I used a bar of Ivory to clean dishes, wash clothes in a bucket, and scrub mud off my boots. 1 bar, 3 days, still had half of it left. The reason it survives shortages is simple. It's boring. Nobody's panic buying bar soap. But when you can't get liquid soap because supply chains are broken or prices have doubled, you're going to wish you grabbed 20 bars when they were $1.25. Number 4 is going to sound boring, but it's absolute gold. White vinegar. Specifically the gallon jugs of distilled white vinegar. Now I know vinegar isn't glamorous, but hear me out. Dollar stores are quietly shrinking their vinegar inventory because it's heavy, takes up shelf space, and has razor-thin margins. My local Dollar Tree used to stock gallon jugs. Now they only carry the tiny 16-ounce bottles, and even those are hit or miss. A gallon of white vinegar at a dollar store is $1.25. At a grocery store, that same gallon is $3 to $4. And here's the fact that nobody talks about. Vinegar does not expire. I have jugs in my basement from 4 years ago. Opened one last month. Still perfect. Vinegar is a disinfectant that kills 99% of bacteria, a fabric softener, a weed killer, a drain cleaner, a window cleaner, and a food preservative. Last summer, I used vinegar to pickle 30 pounds of cucumbers from my garden. Total cost, 1 gallon of vinegar and some salt. Those pickles are still sitting in my pantry, still crunchy, still delicious. I've also used it to clean mineral deposits off faucets, remove soap scum from shower doors, and neutralize odors in everything from trash cans to carpets. And here's the survival advantage. Vinegar can make questionable water safer to drink by lowering the pH and killing some pathogens. I'm not saying it's a replacement for a real water filter, but in a pinch, it's better than nothing. Most preppers are spending hundreds on commercial cleaners and specialized products, while ignoring the one liquid that does it all for $1.25. Stock at least 5 gallons. You will use every drop. Number 5. Sewing kits. The little plastic boxes with thread, needles, safety pins, and a couple of buttons. These are disappearing from dollar stores because they're considered obsolete. Nobody sews anymore, right? Wrong. Here's what I've learned. When clothes are expensive and supply chains break, knowing how to repair a torn seam or replace a button becomes valuable. A sewing kit at Dollar Tree is $1.25. It contains about 10 needles, 6 colors of thread, a dozen safety pins, and a few buttons. That's enough to repair dozens of items. I used one kit last year to fix a winter coat that would have cost me $150 to replace. The zipper had separated from the fabric. 15 minutes with a needle and thread, good as new. But here's the advantage beyond repairs. Needles and thread are barter gold. In any situation where normalcy breaks down, people will trade food for someone who can fix their gear. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being realistic. During the Great Depression, seamstresses were some of the few people who stayed employed. And here's the key. Dollar store sewing kits are being phased out because craft stores sell fancier versions for 10 times the price, and dollar stores don't want to compete. Most people don't even look at them. They're usually on a bottom shelf in the craft aisle, covered in dust. Grab at least 5 kits. They take up 0 space, never expire, and you'll either use them yourself or know someone who desperately needs one. Number 6. Disposable rain ponchos. The ones that come folded up in a tiny plastic pouch. Here's what's happening. These used to be a dollar store staple. Now they're seasonal, and stores are only stocking them in spring. That means if you need one in October, good luck. A rain poncho at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The exact same poncho at a camping store is $6 to $10. And here's the genius of these things. They're not just rain protection. They're ground tarps, emergency shelters, windbreaks, vapor barriers, and even makeshift bags. Last fall, I was helping a friend move, and it started pouring. We wrapped his mattress in 4 ponchos, taped them together, and got everything inside without a drop of water damage. Total cost, $5. I keep 2 in every vehicle, 2 in every backpack, and a dozen in my garage. They weigh nothing, fold down smaller than a sandwich, and they're waterproof. Here's the survival angle. In a real emergency, staying dry is not optional. Hypothermia can kill you in 50-degree weather if you're wet. A poncho can save your life. And here's why they disappear. They're cheap, effective, and easy to overlook. When people panic buy, they grab jackets and blankets. Ponchos sit on the shelf. Until they don't. Until corporate decides they're not worth restocking. Stock at least 20. You'll hand them out like candy when someone needs one. Number 7. Ziploc-style freezer bags. Not the sandwich bags. The freezer bags. Heavy-duty, thick plastic, real zipper. These are vanishing because plastic prices have skyrocketed, and dollar stores can't maintain the quality at the price point. I've already watched Dollar Tree replace their heavy-duty freezer bags with thinner versions that rip if you look at them wrong. A box of 20 freezer bags at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The same count at a grocery store is $4 to $5. And here's the thing. Freezer bags aren't just for freezing food. They're waterproof containers for electronics, documents, first aid supplies, and fire starting materials. I keep my phone in a freezer bag when I'm hiking in wet conditions. I store matches, lighters, and dryer lint in freezer bags in my emergency kit. I've even used them as makeshift water containers when I was caught without a bottle. Here's what I did 2 months ago. I bought 6 boxes, which is 120 bags, and I've already used 30. They're in every bag, every car, every drawer. And here's the shortage reality. When supply chains tighten, plastic products are the first to go because petroleum prices spike and manufacturers cut production. Most people won't stockpile plastic bags because they think they'll always be available. They're wrong. Grab at least 5 boxes. You'll thank me. Number 8. Reading glasses. The cheap ones in the blister packs near the checkout. Here's the fact nobody thinks about. Reading glasses are medical devices that people need to function, and they break constantly. A pair at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The same pair at a pharmacy is $15 to $25. And here's what's happening. Dollar stores are cutting back on optical inventory because it's low turnover and takes up valuable shelf space near the registers. I've already noticed fewer strength options available, and some stores have stopped carrying them altogether. I bought 10 pairs last year in various strengths. Not because I need 10 pairs, but because I know people who do, and when glasses break at the worst possible time, having a backup is priceless. I gave a pair to my neighbor during a power outage when his regular glasses snapped. He was able to read medicine labels and maps because I had a spare. That's not prepping. That's just being smart. And here's the barter angle. Reading glasses are something people trade for because they can't function without them. Stock multiple strengths, from +1 to +3. Even if you have perfect vision, someone in your circle doesn't. Grab at least 5 pairs. They're lightweight, nearly indestructible in the case, and you'll either use them or give them to someone who desperately needs them. Number 9. This is the one I mentioned at the start, and it's disappearing faster than anything else on this list. Toothpaste. Not just any toothpaste. The name brand stuff like Colgate or Crest that dollar stores carry in the travel-sized tubes. Here's what's happened behind the scenes. Major toothpaste manufacturers are cutting deals with big box stores and phasing out dollar store distribution because the margins are terrible. I've been tracking this for 6 months, and I've watched my local Dollar Tree go from fully stocked toothpaste aisles to half-empty pegs with off-brand products I've never heard of. A name-brand travel-sized tube at Dollar Tree is $1.25. That same tube at a drugstore is $3 to $4. And here's the math. A travel tube has about the same amount of toothpaste as a quarter of a full-size tube, which means you're getting the equivalent of a full tube for $5 instead of $6 or $7. But beyond the cost, here's the reality. Toothpaste is one of those things people don't think about until they run out, and when they do, they'll pay anything for it. Dental hygiene is not optional. Infections from untreated dental problems can kill you. I'm not exaggerating. I stocked 30 tubes last year. I've used 8 so far, given away 3, and I've still got 19 left. They don't expire for years, and even when they do, they're still usable. And here's why it survives initial shortages. It's boring. Nobody panic buys toothpaste. But 6 months into a supply chain breakdown, when the stores are still empty and people are getting desperate, toothpaste becomes gold. Stock at least 20 tubes per person. It's cheap insurance. Number 10. Super glue. The little tubes in the hardware section. Here's the reality. Super glue fixes everything from broken ceramics to torn shoes to split plastic, and it's one of those things you never think about until you desperately need it. A tube of super glue at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The same tube at a hardware store is $4 to $6. And here's what's happening. Dollar stores are consolidating their hardware sections because they don't turn over fast enough, and super glue is one of the first items to go. I've already seen it disappear from 2 of my regular stores, replaced by cheaper adhesives that don't work half as well. Last year, I used super glue to repair a crack in a plastic water container, reattach the sole of a boot, and fix a broken eyeglass frame. 3 critical repairs, 1 tube, cost me $1.25. And here's the survival advantage. Super glue can close wounds in an emergency. I'm not saying it's ideal, but in a pinch, it works. It was literally invented for battlefield medicine. I've also used it to seal small leaks in hoses, repair torn tarps, and even reinforce duct tape repairs. Here's the trick. Super glue does have a shelf life, but if you store it in the fridge, it lasts years longer than the expiration date. I've got tubes from 3 years ago that still work perfectly. Stock at least 10 tubes. They're tiny, they're cheap, and you'll use them constantly. Number 11. AAA and AA batteries. Specifically the name brand ones like Duracell or Energizer that dollar stores somehow sell for the same price as no-name garbage. Here's what's happening. Battery manufacturers are prioritizing high-margin retail partnerships, and dollar stores are losing access to premium brands. I've already watched Dollar Tree's battery selection shift from 50% name brand to about 20%, and it's getting worse. A 4-pack of Duracell AA batteries at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The same pack at a grocery store is $6 to $8. Do the math. That's a 500% markup. And here's the key. Batteries have a 10-year shelf life if stored properly, which means if you buy $100 worth right now and not worry about them for a decade. I did exactly that 2 years ago. I bought 60 packs, which is 240 batteries, and I've barely made a dent. Flashlights, radios, remotes, medical devices, all of them need batteries. And when the power goes out, batteries are the first thing to disappear from stores. But here's the advantage. Most people are buying rechargeable batteries and solar chargers, which is great until those systems fail. Disposable batteries are the backup to your backup. Stock at least 50 packs if you can afford it. It's the best dollar per value prep you can make. Number 12. Cotton swabs. The generic Q-tip style ones in the plastic jar. Here's the thing. Cotton swabs are insanely useful beyond cleaning ears, and they're being phased out of dollar stores because of plastic waste regulations. Some states are already banning plastic stem swabs, and dollar stores are preemptively cutting inventory, rather than deal with regional compliance. A jar of 300 cotton swabs at Dollar Tree is $1.25. That same jar at a pharmacy is $4. And here's what most people don't realize. Cotton swabs are precision cleaning tools. I've used them to clean gun parts, apply ointment to small cuts, dust electronics, apply glue to tiny surfaces, and even start fires by coating the tip in petroleum jelly. They're also perfect for first aid. You can use them to clean wounds, apply antiseptic, or remove splinters. I keep a jar in every bathroom, one in my garage, one in my first aid kit, and one in each vehicle. They take up almost no space. They last forever, and they're one of those things you don't appreciate until you need one and don't have it. Stock at least 5 jars. You'll go through them faster than you think. Number 13. Candles. Plain white emergency candles or tea lights. Not the scented ones. Here's what's happening. Dollar stores are prioritizing scented candles because they have higher margins, and plain utility candles are disappearing. I've already seen this shift at my local stores. The emergency candle section has shrunk by half in the past year. A pack of 10 tea lights at Dollar Tree is $1.25. The same pack at a grocery store is $3 to $4. And here's the survival reality. Candles are light heat and morale. During a 2-day power outage last winter, I burned through 20 tea lights. They kept one room warm enough to be livable, provided enough light to read by, and gave my family something to focus on besides the cold and dark. But beyond emergencies, candles are long-term light sources that don't require batteries, fuel, or maintenance. They just work. And here's the key. Plain candles have an indefinite shelf life. I've burned candles that were 5 years old. They work perfectly. Stock at least 100 tea lights and a dozen emergency taper candles. They're compact, they're cheap, and when the power goes out, you'll be glad you have them. All right, here's the bottom line. While everyone else is clearing out the same viral products and fighting over limited-time sales, you now know 13 specific items that are cheaper, more useful, and still sitting on dollar store shelves right now. But they won't be there forever. Corporate decisions are being made right now to discontinue these products, and once they're gone, you're paying 3 to 5 times more at regular stores, assuming you can even find them. Drop a comment and tell me which of these you're grabbing first. And if you've noticed any of these disappearing from your local stores, I want to hear about it. Next week, I'm exposing the 10 most overhyped prepper products that everyone buys but are completely worthless in a real emergency. You're going to be shocked at what made the list. Don't miss it.